Welcome to the Jerry Pitre Show, your go-to podcast for everything in the world of collectible cards and sports memorabilia. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, we dive deep into the stories, the histories, and the trends shaping the market. From iconic rookie cards to rare sports artifacts, join us as we explore the fascinating intersection of sports and collecting. Let's dig into the treasures that tell the stories of legends. Featuring our very first guest, Big Code Cards. Cody, welcome to the show. Longtime friend, longtime homie. Give the people a little 30-second, how you got into collecting sports cards. Or, take your time, but give us a brief little introduction on how you got into collecting sports cards.
I just like to rip shit, like at Walmart. Uh, I think my first autograph was a Ray Lewis, and fell in love with it since then.
Awesome. Awesome. So, for our listeners who don't know you, tell us, are you just a collector? Are you just a dealer? Where do you kind of fall in the pecking order of the hobby?
Um, I like to collect hockey. That's about the only thing I really keep around. Um, but everything else, I buy it and sell it.
Okay. Um, Now, what kind of criteria do you use when you add a card to your collection? I mean, I know you just said that you're into hockey, but do we have a favorite person, team, card set? I love that we're
Um,
hockey collectors. We got our NFL jersey on too. For our audio listeners, we're both rocking football attire right now.
um, Tampa Lightning. That's my NHL team. Um, but that's my favorite team to collect. But I like Bobby Orr, uh, all of the old guys. I love the old guys. I love shit. Can you think of the name? But Bobby Orr, fucking Carey Price. Uh,
We got no love for Wayne Gretzky.
eh, sometimes, but he's expensive.
I would agree. I would agree. I think even the low grade Gretzky stuff is still 1,000 plus.
I love
Uh,
a I love Ovechkin. Sometimes Sidney Crosby.
well, since we're
But
starting out with your collection, what's the rarest card in your collection, and like what makes it so special?
it's not really rare. Hold on, let's see if I can find it.
You just tell us.
I've had shit. Steven Stamkos. I've had a couple of jerseys of him. Uh, Alex, or not Alex. Shit, I'm drawing a blank, David. The
That,
goalie
that
for yeah. Had
yeah.
some
That,
goalie net cards.
oh, that's sick. That's sick. Um, Now, are you more of a memorabilia? Are you a card? Like, what do you personally enjoy? Because one of the things that I find super interesting is, I've met guys that only collect jerseys. I've met guys that only collect bats, footballs, mini helmets. Um, what speaks to you? Like what do you really enjoy having in the man cave?
So Leaf does you know how Leaf does multiple jerseys on some cards? They've had one that I really liked that had like Bobby Orr, a bunch of the old guys, Carey Price, some of them old guys. I really loved that card. Uh, they've got some cards with stick pieces in them. Those are pretty cool to me. I really like memorabilia stuff too. Like there's
Okay,
some.
now since we're into memorabilia, quick little interjection. Does it matter whether it's game worn or player worn? Because me personally, I'm a snob. I really only want game worn stuff by that particular player.
I don't think a lot of that stuff's player worn or game worn. I think they just grab it off a shelf, cut it up, put it in a card. I mean, but if they say it's player worn, that's still cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Um, so since we're talking about cards, do you prefer in your collection? Does it matter? Because I've met guys that literally they'll have stuff that's already graded and they just crack it out and store it raw. Do you like raw cards? Do you like graded cards? Like, and we're just still referencing your PC. Like what's in the man cave at Cody's house?
No, I don't have anything graded right now. But if I could get like a some some Bobby Orr autographs, that'd be cool if they were graded. If they're not graded, I don't care.
Okay. Now, so I know you're a card dealer. Um, let's get into that. How long have you been a dealer in the industry?
Uh, Probably since the pandemic. That's about the time I really started selling cards. But probably 5 years almost. I think I did my first show with you.
Shout out. Yeah. Yeah. What was that, Gardendale?
Yeah, something like that. Damn
Yeah,
time goes
I
by.
believe that was Gardendale. And I think that was the original OG venue that they don't use anymore. Now, on the subject of card dealing, uh, are you only in-person shows? Do you sell online? Like, what's your favorite platforms? Like, give us a good
Um,
feel.
eBay does the best for me. I love to buy on Instagram. Um, I've been trying Whatnot out here recently. Done 2 shows in the past 2 months. Haven't been the worst. Just getting little followers. So I've
Okay.
sold on Facebook too, but not much.
Okay. Um, do you do any buying on Whatnot, or are you just selling?
I try not to buy on Whatnot because I get in breaks too much, spend too much money. Um, I've bought a few things off Whatnot, but I try not to because I get on there and
Okay.
spend a lot.
So let's jump into breaking. Um, when you're breaking, what products, what sets, what sports are you doing? Hockey? Are you doing baseball, football? What do you enjoy?
Uh, I get into a lot of NASCAR breaks. Um, I've been into a few baseball breaks here recently, but
Okay.
NASCAR is my favorite break.
All right. So for those audio listeners, I'm also on the Quiet Card podcast, and Amani and me, we do what's called Whatnot Wednesdays. And one of the shows we like to watch is Three Kings, and very often they like to break NASCAR. And me and Amani kind of have different opinions. What do you think about the tire patch cards? I personally don't love them. Amani loves them. As a guy who jumps into breaks, what's your thoughts?
I love tires.
You like the
think I've
tire
got.
patch?
I do. I've actually got a few probably.
Okay. Well, see, that's 1 point for Amani and no points for Jerry. So let me ask you, how do you see the current trends in the sports card market? Like, there's so many different content creators who go, "Oh my god, the hobby's dying, the Wii Packers," all of that stuff. What are you seeing as far as market trends? I mean, as a guy who's in the trenches, as a guy who's a collector, seller, dealer, like what's your thoughts and opinions?
The hobby is very much alive. If you would have been in Dallas this past week, you're seeing crazy amount of people. Seeing, I went outside at like lunchtime to go get something to eat. Couldn't come back. We couldn't find a parking spot. Had to go to a different garage to find a parking spot. Crazy.
Really?
Yes, sir. Crazy packed out there.
Now, you were at Dallas. How many days did you stay?
Um, we landed Thursday night, so we were there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Now, did you primarily do buying? Did you do selling? Like,
Um, I really bought a lot. I think I sold maybe 5 things.
now, I've had some mixed opinions about the Dallas show. A lot of people say, "Hey, it's a sell only." A lot of people go, "Hey, it's a buy only." When I went, I definitely did both. I can see where there's a market for both. I mean, I felt like a lot of the value boxes in Dallas were amazing. I mean, honestly, like
Yes.
they I don't want to say people were giving stuff away, but you literally start looking through it and you're like, you want $2 for this? And they're like, yeah, it's just a patch auto. It's no big deal. And it's like, so, um,
Let me show you what I found in the value box up there.
no, just tell us about it.
Okay. Uh, Trevor Lawrence, rated rookie clear for $2. Value box.
Okay. So for our novice individuals, what do you think that on average would go for?
Maybe 5 to 7.
Profit's profit. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I, so on the Quiet Card podcast, we often hear people go, "Oh my God, how do you make money? There's not money to make. The hobby is dead, blah, 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 blah." And I really feel like it's a volume game in the sense of, you buy something for $2, you sell it for 7, $10, whatever, and you just keep leveling up your inventory. Um, I are you doing any grading? Because I know a lot of people exclusively only buy to grade to flip. What's your tactics on that?
I I don't really grade. I think I've graded maybe 5 cards since I've been doing this. But I mean, I like graded cards sometimes, but there's always a chance you send something that looks like a 10 in and you get a 7 on it. You know.
Yeah. Now, as far as purchasing stuff, do you exclusively try to go to raw and ungraded, or do you actually pick up graded material as well?
Uh, I'm more of a raw, ungraded. It's just easier to put on eBay and get it gone or something, or walk around the show and sell it, or at least it is for me.
No, I totally agree with that. I've had a lot of instances where I have something raw and it sells for like $30 less than the PSA 10. And you're sitting there going, why would I take the time to send it off, have it graded, have it away? And with Pokemon, not so much, but with sports, on that time that it's gone, I'm always worried about somebody getting hurt. I'm always worried about somebody pulling a Wander Franco, just crazy stuff like that. There's a chance, right? I mean, uh, like what was it? 2 weeks ago, Jordan Love, first game, comes out, last 3 seconds of the game, gets hurt. Now, I'm the guy who goes, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, but we've got other guys like Amani particularly. He'll jump in and go, cool, he's hurt. Now it's a time to buy.
That's
So
that's the same way I am. I was I we watched the game Friday. He got hurt Friday, and I was grabbing him up Saturday. They were cheap.
Now, were you getting good deals because he was hurt?
somewhat. And I was also, I buy them in big lots. Like I'll buy 50 cards at a time, you know.
So, let's see. You know, with buying big lots, do you feel as if you have better success with buying big lots, or do you just go for one single card at a time? Kind of, what's your strategy on that?
So say I bought a Batista auto, Dave Batista, the wrestler, at the Scottsboro show couple shows back, and then I, just added stuff to it and got a better deal on it. So sometimes the more you buy, the better the deal. I feel like.
No, I would totally agree with that. That's actually kind of the advice I give to people because I see guys all the time. They only want to buy one or two things and they don't get the best deal. Where I'm the crazy person, I say, "Hey, stick 10 things on the table. Stick 20 things on the table." Because the difference of I'm buying two cards or buying two stacks of cards, generally I tend to agree with you. You get the better deal when you've got the two stacks. And a lot of times, the way I personally look at it is I go, hey, I've got two stacks here. I'm going to make my money on three things and then still have
Right.
all this left over, you
Yep.
know? Um, and so that's kind of a strategy that I personally also agree with. Now, I was going to say, since you're a buyer and a seller, what are some common mistakes that you see people make when buying or selling cars, especially new people? Because this is kind of who we're trying to target to educate out of this program.
Um, I would say buying buying guys that are out of the league. I mean, unless you're buying like somebody like Tom Brady or something, it's kind of hit and miss. But buying guys out of the league or prospecting like they do in baseball, that's very hard. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't want to say against prospecting myself, but I just see, and especially in baseball, you see these guys who are 16, 17, and they've never played an official MLB game ever. And I see people spending just obnoxious amounts of money. And when I say obnoxious, I'm talking two, $3,000 plus for a guy who hasn't played, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I just always think like if I'm taking that money and I put it into Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, versus a flash in the pan kind of a guy, I would totally agree. Now, since you're mainly a dealer, I see you setting up, I've seen you set up what 20 plus times in the last year
Mm.
and some change. I mean, you're everywhere. Um, what role do you think card shows and conventions play in the sports card community?
Uh, what do you mean?
So for instance, like if if I'm a novice and I know nothing about the sports cards industry, why should or why shouldn't I go to a card show? I mean,
To buy your,
everybody's got Whatnot, everybody's got eBay, right? Like, what makes a card show special?
you get way better deals at card shows. I've learned way better deals. Like you can go, say you just want a Miles Garrett jersey card. You can go to a show probably 5 out of 10 times and buy one easier than you can. You don't have to pay shipping, don't have to pay taxes, and you get the card right then.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I also see a lot of instances where I feel like guys are buying raw cards, ungraded cards off of eBay to grade, And I think that there's actual an advantage to being in person to physically look at it and take it out the penny sleeve, look at the surface, look at the edges, is it off centered? Um, so since you've been in the industry, what do you think are some of the most significant changes you've seen in the sports card hobby? Right?
Um, when everybody was ripping in the pandemic, I mean, it was good at the start of the pandemic when you could get autographs and good patches. Now you're lucky if you get a patch out of a mega box, and those are $65. When before the pandemic, they were maybe $20, $25, and you could have fun before the pandemic. Now it's hard to get a patch or an autograph. You got to spend almost $300 to get a chance at an autograph and any Panini stuff, nearly.
Now, are you exclusively ripping retail from like Target, Walmart, those kind of places, or are you ripping any hobby boxes like from like the card shop down the street kind of scenario?
Um, it's probably almost been a year since I've ripped anything. Oh, I I bought some stuff from Three Kings last couple shows ago. Pulled a Paul Skeens 101 at a Belief hobby. Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah.
Now, did you personally rip that? Did you rip that on a break? Like,
I
run
I,
us through
pers-
it.
I personally ripped it. It was one of them Leaf Trinity. I bought it, went to the truck, ripped it, pulled a 101 Paul Skeens. Super excited. Thought I was $1,000,000 right there.
Now, as a guy who rips himself personally and breaks, which do you gain more satisfaction from? Like, does it feel the exact same to just join a break and somebody rip the cards, or does it feel better to rip the pack yourself?
I love ripping the pack myself. It's the thrill of the hunt. And you get to keep all your cards when you do it yourself, unless you're buying a personal rip on whatnot or whatever. But then you still gotta wait a week or so at most.
Okay, okay. Um, Now, how do you determine a value of a card? Do you have any like specific tools, resources? Like, okay, we've just ripped a pack and we hit a one-on-one Paul Skeens. What does Cody do?
Um, it's gonna be hard to get value on that card because it's 101. But I would go and look on eBay, see what comps of other players like him are. Say probably Spencer Strider would probably be the closest to his comps, but I mean, being Leaf, it's not as valuable, but it's fun to rip.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, with that said, you know, uh, especially since we're talking sports, what impact do you think like a player's performance, like career milestones, like what do you think that has as far as value towards the card, right? Like dude goes out there and launches an 80-yard throw. Like does that have any effect? No effect? Like
I mean, it probably does, but I mean, it's yesterday's prices are not today's prices, like y'all say. So, say he throws that 80-yard touchdown, and his cards were $3 this day. Tomorrow they could be $12 or more. So, or like Jordan Love, his stuff was expensive before he got hurt, and then he got hurt. They probably took a little dip, but he'll be back in a few weeks. So.
You think?
Oh yeah, Adam Schefter says he'll be back in 4 weeks.
That's fair. That's fair. Now, um, what about grading a card? Do you think that has overall like impact on a card's like value? Like not only monetarily, but like emotionally. Do you get more out of it if you hold it and you're like, this card is a BGS 95, PSA 10, like, you know,
Me personally, I don't. I like to buy and sell real quick. Buy here, sell it there. But I mean, as monetary, it probably does because I've seen cards be like $12 on eBay and then a PSA 10 go for 80 or 90. So
fair, fair. Now, so we actually were talking about this the other day uh, on the podcast when we were talking about the 101 triple auto. And, I threw out there that like, because it hasn't arrived yet. Everybody bought the Tops Now product, trying to get the triple auto with LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. How important is it for collectors to stay informed about the market trends and news? Like I threw out there talking about the triple auto. I said there might be somebody out there who just doesn't know that there's a $500,000 bounty. Who doesn't really know like, oh, hey, this is sick, but they just don't know somebody's offering them a house for it.
right.
Like
Um, I mean, hold on, say it again.
yeah, okay. So how important is it for collectors to stay informed about market trends and news?
I mean, when I've got a lot of stuff on eBay, I'm constantly checking comps. Or when I'm, at card shows, constantly checking comps because it could change from early in the morning to later in the day, be a different price. And you gotta stick to it.
Yeah, yeah. And for those people who are coming up and they're really learning about the show, comps really just stands for completed sales. And all that means is Cody had a Trevor Lawrence. He's got it for $15, but the last one did $25. He would want to stay informed so he could update his pricing. But that also works the opposite way as well, as far as like the Jordan Love scenario. He had very high prices, found his foot turned the wrong way in somebody else's armpit, and his prices dropped. So now let's see. Do you got any tips for like, so we're talking to new people right now, right? Who do you have any tips, tricks, like things to go for?
Buy what you love. If you love hockey, buy hockey. Buy what you know so you can better be surrounded like with baseball. Buy baseball. Buy people you know so you know when they're hurt or when they're not hurt, when they're playing bad, when they're playing good, when the team's playing good, when it's playing bad, when
So you
playoffs
mean
and
I
stuff
shouldn't
are.
listen to the guy on YouTube talking about the top 5 list of people I should spend my money on?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I buy anybody, but like, I mean, they could be hurt, and that'd be a good time to buy them. Yeah.
Now, since we're talking about kind of the state of the hobby, like the market and all that, what do you anticipate for the next couple years? I mean, are you thinking, "Oh my god, doom and gloom? Are we going to the moon?" Like what's your thoughts?
Nah, we're in good shape in this hobby. Good shape. We got a bunch of young guys coming up. I seen so many kids in Dallas this past weekend. So many kids, and they were carrying like our $10,000 cases around, with cards. It's a good place for the hobby right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think kids are really some of the best test of how good the hobby's doing. Um, because kind of my thoughts and opinions, like when we first entered the pandemic and cards started getting crazy, I did not notice a ton of kids. Like there were kids at the show, but now a show like Dallas or Fanatics Fan Fest, I've just noticed a plethora of kids. And, you know, something that I do as a dealer is I always do like I play a game with the kids where they spot a fake, win a prize. I always give cards out. And, I've often had parents go, "Are you sure about this? Like, you're giving them something, or I'm giving them a great deal, right?" And my running joke is like, I'm just investing in the future. Like, I hope this kid comes to me in the next 10 years and has an 86 Fleer Jordan and wants to do some deals, like I think kids are a great test, really.
Yeah, I usually have value boxes, and I'll see a kid and he'll be like, "Mommy, mommy, I want this. Mommy, mommy, I want that." I'm like, "Hey, dude, who's your favorite player? Look in here and see if you find it." Or they'll find some cards they like in there, and I'll get them. So,
Nice, nice. Yeah, I one of my strategies is I try to be the most mom friendly booth. So, like for instance, I had a dad and son come up. I think I had like I had some type of basketball card that the kid really really liked. Man, it was a little pricey. I'm not gonna lie. But the kid goes, "Hey, would you be interested in a trade?" So I said, "Hey, as long as it's cool with your dad, I'm kosher." So long and short, I pulled some cards out and I said, "Hey, so I'm interested in these. And actually, if we were going to do an exchange, I would need to give you money on top of that." And at first, the dad's kind of like, I don't know. And, I showed him completed sales on eBay and all that. And he said, "Hey, I go call my wife and we think about it?" I said, "Yeah, man, totally good. No worries." And, dad comes back like 20 minutes later and goes, "Hey, do you still have that?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Would you still be interested in that deal?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "But I still have to give him money on top because the values were off." And I mean, the kid was tickled shitless to go, "Oh man, I'm getting exactly what I want, and you're giving me cards on top." And like, I think the kids are important to shows. I see a lot of people who are like, "F them kids. We don't need kids here. They hate the trade up challenge." Um, let's start that out. What's your thoughts on the trade up challenge?
that's what we're doing at a show. That's what we're doing. I mean, I'm here to buy and trade you cash or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know a
I
lot of people who are dealers and they go, "Oh, I hate the trade up challenge. It just totally bothers me." Me, I'll be honest with you. I have set stuff aside of just I know I'm going to give it away to a kid for free at some point in the show. You know, Even if I don't participate in an active trade, generally I just try to give the kids some cards on top and go, "Hey, you know, take this, ask this amount of money for it, and good luck." Which a lot of guys are like, "Oh, just go away, get off my lawn, get away from my table." And I don't really agree with
those
that
are the
kind of
those are the
temperament.
guys I avoid
I would totally agree.
because they're going to be hard to deal with and get deals with. I mean, if you're not going to give a kid a deal, I know you're not going to give me a deal. I mean,
Big facts, dog. I can't tell you how many times I personally sold something and I literally said to the kid and the mom, I'm like, "You guys can get it for this price, but I promise you there's not a grown man in this room that would get this number." It's like I've got $20 on it. The little kid goes, "I've got $12 in my pocket. You'll get that deal, but Cody's not getting the deal." I'm not
You
going to give
remember
that deal
that?
to anybody else. I'm going to get the full price,
You remember that time we traded a kid at the Scottsboro show for 2 blasters, and
I
you
sure
pulled that
do.
caboom? Yeah.
I sure do. Now, I don't know if you remember the second part of that story. So, to catch everybody up on this story, me and Cody were set up at the local Scottsboro show. And I think we were splitting a table or we were neighbors or something. And long and short, this kid with his grandfather was walking around trying to trade off these blasters of soccer. I kind of just, I normally don't rip. And just me and Cody were sitting there bored and said, hey, let's rip. So
Right.
we rip it and we pulled a kaboom, which for those people who don't know what a kaboom is, it's like a $200-300 card out of a $20 product. But the second part of that story, I don't know if you're aware, is I saw that kid walking around and I said, hey, bud, come here. I said, look what I just pulled. And I wanted to give you a little bit more. And he goes, you pulled that out of that blaster? I said, yeah, but here's like a little extra $100 card because I still got the way better end of the deal. And, it was all a thing of luck. Um, but,
That kid, that kid still comes to my table every Scottsboro show.
that proves the point right there. When you treat these kids correctly, when you treat them kindly and respect, I treat the kids, I treat everybody with respect, but I go the extra mile for the kids. I always take my time to explain, like, hey, this is this for this reason, and this is that for that reason. But the whole premise of that plan is just like Cody said. That kid comes back to his table every time. I I have 3 little boys that show up to the Scottsboro show, and I'm pretty sure they live in the apartments that's right down the street. And I've bought and sold Pokemon with them. And every time I'm at those shows, those kids walk up and they go, "Oh, hey, you're the guy with all the error Pokemon cards." And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, buddy?" Little fist bump. I'm like, "What'd you pick up? Did you get anything? You got anything?" And every time I see those kids, they walk up. I feel guilty. They know my name and I don't remember their name, which is terrible. I should do better. But the
There's
fact is, I know their face. I walk right up to them and go, "Hey, what's up, fam?" And
there's
when you
probably
treat these
about
kids with respect, they're going to keep showing up.
there's probably about 80 people that come back to me every time, and it's so hard to remember names, man.
Well, see,
But that
I don't know if you've ever been into like race cars or stuff like that, but like in the race fast car world, I always find that I'll go, "Oh, hey, you're Cody. You've got the big Chevy truck and, you got the blower hanging out the hood and this and that." And it's like, "What's your name again?" And "Oh, yeah, my name's Cody." And it's like, "Oh, you're the guy who's got, the diesel Jetta that, rolls coal on all the Priuses." "Yeah, man, that's me." Like it's a very similar thing. I always remember people by their Instagram name. So that's why I always just try to go with my name. Because I'll like walk up to people and I go, your Instagram name is this, but what's your real name? Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, I should do better on the same. Um,
a, a lot of times people when they come up to see me, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're the hockey guy," because I'll either have a hockey jersey on or I'll have 20 hockey cards in a case, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're the hockey dude. What's up, man?"
and going back to that, I think the other big point is, you know, you always have very similar products, very similar. It's not, you don't always have the same stuff, but you always have the same type of stuff. You've always got football, you've always got hockey, you've got some baseball. Apparently now you're picking up some Pokemon too. I wonder where you got that idea from. Pat myself on the back. But yeah, like I always try to buy the weird stuff. I've had guys walk up to me and they go, You're the one who had that Disney card, right? Yeah, man. Hey, do you still have, because I always pick up like weird stuff. Like just recently I picked up a South Park chef card. The next time I picked up like a Austin Powers card. I like the weird stuff. And it's kind of funny, but I always get the guys that walk up and they go, "You're the guy with the weird stuff, right?" Heck yeah, because it makes my table different than other people's. Because one of my common kind of complaints about card shows is you see a bunch of guys that have shiny cardboard and it's all the same. You know what I mean? All these guys got Jordan Love. All these guys got, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, fill in the blank, right? Like one of the things I appreciate about your table is you've got value boxes. You've got expensive stuff in a case. You've got, a jersey sitting there or a helmet. So like you've got a different table. And I think that really helps set the tone because a lot of people they get engulfed with, oh my God, they only had graded stuff and the cheapest thing they had is like $5,000. And I don't want to say it turns people away, but I love having stuff that I know a little kid can pull a crumpled up $5 bill out of his pocket and hand it to me and he pick up 10 things.
Right. Well, if you're like me, I'm a I probably do 6 shows in 2 months. And if you've got the same stuff at every show, they're not going to come to your table.
Yeah, you're dead in
Or
the
if,
water.
or if you see the same stuff at every show, you're not going to want to come back to that show because it's going to be, they got the same shit they had last time. I want to
Yes.
see some new stuff.
Yes. I'll leave names out, but there's certain vendors that we know that literally they show up with the same stuff every single time at the same price. And for instance, one of those vendors I was trying to do a deal with, and I said, "Hey man, you've got $150 on this autograph. It's super cool. I really want it." One just sold on eBay for $75. And then there's another one on eBay, buy it now for $90. Could you do a deal? And they go, "I'll do 140." And I'm like, I'll give you all of the buy it now price on eBay and you're avoiding the fees and, shipping and all that nonsense. Would you be interested in that? And they go, no, it'll sell when it sells. And I just don't operate like that, man. I'm with you on the sense of if it's sold for a lower price, I'm going to sell mine for around that price. If it's sold for a higher price, though, I'm also going to sell mine around that price as well. So I agree. I think staying in the news, up to date, really does help.
Oh, on that right there, what you just said, like if you have prices on your card, and then somebody says, "Hey, how much is this?" and you look it up, and the price goes up, I'm immediately putting that card down and leaving your table. I've had 3-4 people do that.
Now explain that in a little further detail, right? So for our novice people, our unknowing people.
Okay, say I got a Jordan Love or something, and I've got $15 on it, and you look it up, and it's selling for $50, and then I look it up, me having a $15 sticker on it and seeing that it's 40, I'm not going to jump the price up, from 15 to, I can't be like, "Oh no, it sells for more than this." I can't do that. I mean, I don't feel that's right.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And I have seen that scenario. I've been in that scenario where it's like, oh, I'm trying to pick a deal up, and the guy's like, "Okay, let me look this up." And it's like, "Oh, actually, no, I need it to be this price." The way I am, if I stickered it for a number, it's that number or less. I'm not going to
Yep.
charge you more, and if I've messed up and I put, a low price on it and you can take advantage of that, please. I'm the table of deals and steals. Come pick it up. you know. Um, Now, if I'm in that scenario and I've got a $15 sticker on it and it's $50, and the guy goes, I don't want it for 15 and just puts it down. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna reprice that for $45, so I'm still cheaper than the last one on eBay. But the first person
Yeah.
who notices it, you've got the opportunity. The ball is in your court. If you wanted it for the 15, it's all yours. You know?
Also, when I'm like dealing through boxes, and I've seen I've been digging through like value boxes, and I've seen Jordan Love autos in there like one time, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you know you got this in there," and he'd be like, "Oh shit, let me grab that." You know, sometimes you gotta help dealers out like that too.
Yeah. Um, but then again, me as a dealer, if I'm that guy, as long as I intentionally put it in there, now if it's a thing of, oh crap, man, I've been missing that. I'm glad you said that. That one's not a $1 card. For
Yeah,
whatever reason, it made it to a $1 box. But if there's not a major price discrepancy, like, oh, I stuck a $300 card in the dollar box, you'll probably get it for the price that's on the box. I try to really go by which is me on a dealer. When I set up, I make sure I run through my box. I'm like, okay, nothing crazy, didn't leave anything there. Um, but I've seen some people, man, they hadn't opened up that box in 15 months and they just throw it on the table and they go $5, $3, $1.
I've seen
Cool.
that.
You know? But
I
I,
mean,
I
you
think
can
I think that's a point where people can, go make some
build a
money.
stack. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And don't just go for one card, right? Because he's going to go and go, this is a Jordan Love. Man, put 30 cards on there and hand him a stack. And he goes, all right, here
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Well, sweet. Man, I really appreciate you taking the time. While we've got everybody's attention, pump your socials. What's your Instagram? What's your whatnot? Are you on TikTok? Where are you at and how can we find you?
On Instagram and whatnot, it is at Bigcodecards. If you want to look me up on Facebook, it's Cody Lee, and it'll have my logo. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really post a lot. Um, I got a whatnot show coming up. Uh, it'll be the weekend after Atlanta. I believe it's the 21st at 5 o'clock on a Saturday.
Okay. Now, what's the next show you're going to be setting up at? I know it's getting close to football season, and that's generally when the show season kind of dies down. Do you have any shows you plan on setting up at?
I'll be walking around in Atlanta this coming weekend at the Culture Collision. I'll be set up at the Scottsboro Card Show October the 5th or 6th. I can't remember which one it is. I'll have uh, I'll have all kinds of sports. I'll have a friend with me. He'll have Pokemon.
Shout out, shout out. Well, you got any last remarks, last little tidbits of knowledge, because the whole idea of this show is we're really just trying to educate the novice. We're really just trying to educate someone starting from zero. Because me and you, I would say, are at a very high level. I would never call myself an expert, but I'm pretty talented.
Buy what you like and have fun with it.
So should I just go jump into a bunch of breaks?
If you got that kind of money, yes, you can. But I mean, it's up to you. I
Well,
don't
if I'm a novice looking for profits, if I'm looking to build,
buy singles.
that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Well, hey, Cody, I really appreciate you taking the time. Glad to have you on. You jumped in kind of at a last moment's notice. Such a homie. Everybody go follow Big Code Cards on Instagram, YouTube. Are you on YouTube yet?
Not really. I don't have a lot of time for YouTube.
We're going to get him on YouTube too. Go check out his next Whatnot show. You said let's get an official date. What's your next Whatnot show? You said the weekend after Culture Collision. So
yes, it'll be
is
that.
that the 21st? You said on Saturday.
Yes, sir. 5:00.
5:00. Awesome. Now, what kind of cards are we going to have on that Whatnot show?
We'll have everything. We'll have WNBA. We'll have MLB. We'll have some old football, some old baseball. We'll have hockey. We might have some Pokemon. We might have some soccer, just a little bit.
Okay. Well, sweet. And we're going to do 5:00 for sure because your Whatnot show on 4 p.m. So just in case, you might want to go edit that.
All right.
But
Yep.
we just want to give the people the right time.
Yeah, it is 4 p.m. 9:21 and 4 p.m.
Awesome. 9:21, 4 p.m. Big Code Cards, deals and steals, hockey, football, baseball, vintage. You gonna have any graded stuff?
I might get a few graded cards.
He might have a few. So check him out. Go give the homie a follow. We appreciate everybody for showing up and listening. And just remember, this is the Jerry Pitre Show, your go-to podcast for everything in the world of collectibles and sports memorabilia. We appreciate everybody for listening. Go hit that thumbs up button, and we out of here. Peace.